I don't think we've spoken to the fungus carter yet. Her cart is piled high with fungal blooms and jars of algae painstakingly scraped from the surfaces of walls. She stops every few minutes to cough surreptitiously into her dyed cotton scarf and eyes you warily when you approach. I have to take this load all the way to the sacred district, and the priests don't like it if I'm late. You inquire politely about her cough, and she looks suddenly terrified. Mahir, look down on me, she mumbles. Please don't say anything. I have a family to feed. With that, she grabs the handles of the cart and pulls away at a run. Within a few moments, you lose sight of her in the crowded pathways. What an odd woman. Okay, let's try. We've been to the hospital, we've been to the entertainments. Let's try the guardhouse. Just follow the stream of white cloaks. A modest stone building with bas-relief lintels and wide, unshuttered windows. The stylized sun of Mahir flutters from a silk flag above the portico. It is a scene of controlled chaos. You can see the white-cloaked guards bustling to and fro within, shouting companionably to each other while a stream of fungus carters, merchants, and ordinary citizens petition them. Let's train with the guards. There's a formation of new recruits doing basic forms in the courtyard. The sergeant does not object when you slip into line, but he doesn't treat you with any particular gentleness either. You practice hand-to-hand combat for a few hours, then end up on your back more often than not. They fight with an unfamiliar, light-footed style. A few of the more advanced recruits duel with curving twin-bladed scimitars. Interesting, the sergeant grunts at the end of your session. You are bruised and possibly concussed, but quite satisfied with your morning, and you think you may have learned something in turn. Is it always a particularly busy day, or are they always so besieged? We are preparing for the pilgrimage to Amurdri, the Mountain of Light, a young guard tells you, stamping yet another merchant's application. It always turns into a bit of a festival. Everyone wants permission to go, so they come to harangue us when the sun priests turn them away. Is it a religious pilgrimage? Well, a bit. She makes a face. Every merchant in the city suddenly becomes very devoted to Mahir when a pilgrimage season comes, anyway. When you've completed certain stories in the city, the pilgrimage will begin, opening new opportunities. I feel like mentioning the Dream of Smoke might be a really bad idea, but fine. A young guard gives you a look of utter bafflement. Dreams? Mirrors? She raises her eyebrows exaggeratedly. One of her companions, clearly a wit, adds, Guards don't dream in Barchus. The Master-at-Arms confiscates all your sleeping hours when you sign up. The young guard shakes her head. Perhaps you should talk to the priests at the Temple of Mahir. They are well versed in such matters. Okay. Let's go to the temple then. The temple tower pierces through the city's heart, taller than the other 4 towers which stand at each of the cardinal points. Around the temple sprawls the sacred district. Vine-covered stone shrines, still ponds glowing with algae, and flash-finned carp, priests in white, their wrists heavy with metal chains. There are no mirrors in the Temple of Mahir. The rest of the city has to make do with mirrored light and reflection, but Mahir's most sacred space is filled with hundreds of lamps and lit candles of hard-packed phosphorescent fungus. In Varchus the sun still shines, calls the sun priest, in the way of an invocation. The assembled temple goers raise their voices in well-worn reply. In Varchus the sun still shines. The bas-reliefs. Every surface of the temple is carved and worked. If you peer closer, the bas-reliefs depict Varchus' fallen to the knee. The dreams of smoke. They seem like something one of the priests might understand if you had a mind to tell them. The Agnihotri? The Varchasi equivalent of a king or governor. He is overseeing the rituals and gives you a slanted glance. The Sunseers would require scintillac. The most important priests of Mahir are the Sunseers. They wear necklaces of glowing scintillac beads. They'll pay well for more scintillac. We could bring them the blue scintillac from the rats on... Oh God, what's the... I can't remember the island name right now, but yeah, we're not bringing them that. And then the Shrine of Mahir. His stone carved form is rubbed daily with glowing moss. Perhaps it is guilt which makes you think of placing a lamentable relic amongst the flowers and other offerings. Let's look at the bas-reliefs. 93% chance of success. In the first panel, Mahir is depicted as the sun, beaming rays of thinly hammered gold onto a surface city both peaceful and prosperous. The 5 towers are carved with loving detail, barely recognizable without the wreaths of fungal flowers and curling vines. In the next panel, Mahir blinks, and the city turns to shards of onyx and jet, slowly crumbling away. Mahir then becomes a broad-shouldered, sorrow-faced man stalking the false-starred blackness of the Neath in search of his lost city. His eyes are picked out in orange-red carnelian and seem lit with inner fire. Varchis as it is now is conspicuously absent from the carvings, as if the stone carvers could not bear to chip its fallen outlines. Ask storytellers about the Cloddery Heart. The Cloddery heir insists it was last seen in the Elder Continent. The Cloddery Heart? Yes, it was here. A previous owner sailed it as far up the river as it would go, and then submerged it and covered its resting place in reeds. There, its ichor bled into the water. The river fish began to throw themselves on shore and hobble about on their fins. At first, the local fishermen welcomed an easy harvest, but in time they came to dislike the disruption and the permanent rotting smell. Then, but how the heart departed and where it went are another story. The Cloddery heir listens without looking, her gaze fixed on the flowering of the tree. Let's also pick this up. Well, we're here for the Cloddery heir, so let's just do this longer. If it's no longer in the river, where did it go? Hacked free, the people who lived on the banks of Adam's Way brought the Cloddery Heart to the surface and made it fit to sail again. But there was no one who wanted to voyage in her, so they chose a crew by lot and chained them to the deck, ordering them to sail north until they had left the Elder Continent, and then to keep sailing as far as they could go. The Cloddery heir is still looking into the middle distance, but the corners of her mouth have turned down. The storyteller is milking the story, and she knows it. Is there any word of where the Cloddery Heart might be now? Khan's shadow. One can't be certain, but ships that cannot sail any longer often find themselves huddled in Khan's shadow. You might look there. Perhaps the presence of the Cloddery Heart would make even those other broke-down ships eager to move again. Yeah, if we're going to look into getting this ship, I would like to look into it before we buy a new ship. And, of course, now we can't pick up the commission. Great. We're going to attend a funeral feast again. And this time we can sit at the table as a guest of honor. A stern matriarch invites you to join them. You understand. The sacrament, yes? Sit here by me. Our poor departed kin was a fine scholar and well-aged. Leg or breast, by the way. One of the family. The wine is piquant, the meat succulent, the conversation cordial. A proud lady tells everyone how well her young Frederick is doing in boarding school. A well-meaning aunt mistakes you for a second cousin. You clean your plate. Seconds? Your prominent position at the table is noticed. Word will undoubtedly reach your crew. I'll take it for the 1 pages. Okay. So, after we were in Varchis, I basically made a beeline for the Iron Republic because we were running very low on fuel. We did stop at the Mangrove College just to lower our terror a bit because obviously running without the lamp for that long was a little bit scary for the crew. Nothing else of note really happened. But as you can see, this is the first time that we have been down to 0 barrels of fuel. Now, the meter is full. We only just hit 0 as we pulled into the Iron Republic. We would still have this meter. So that number hitting 0 isn't like instant death. It's like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Levels of, fuel. Not death. Not yet. But I did want to show you guys what happens if I were to completely run out. Because when you go to 0 barrels of fuel, this event pops up. Without fuel, your ship is just an oddly shaped house located somewhere you really don't want to live. This will disappear as soon as you have fuel. If you're in a position to purchase some, don't worry about it. We are in a position to purchase some, but I want to at least read off the options. We're not going to hit any of them for obvious reasons. Search your supplies for something of use. There must be something you can repurpose as fuel. Now this consumes 2 supplies. A few last supplies. Very little remains to you. But if you're lucky, there's something you can use. This gives you a 50-50 shot, and it only uses 1 crate of supplies. If you're completely out of fuel and stranded, I would recommend using the 2 supplies one. if at all possible. Like, this is literally like I am down to 1 crate is about the only time I would use this. Because that coin flip could either cost you more supplies than just hitting this would, or if you're really only down to like 2 or 3 crates left, it could, you know, kill you. Make a sacrifice to Storm. Storm, the god of the roof, angriest of the 3. He's as likely to crush you as save you, but you could hardly be worse off after all. He will require a death. Time to draw lots. So, you know, you obviously have to sacrifice a crew to do that. So, and let's see. And you have to have their attention. Like, you do have to have the attention of the gods to pull any of these, in addition to other sacrifices. Make a sacrifice to Stone. Stone is the kindest of the gods of the sea, but that's not saying very much. She has a great wound from which a river of blood flows. Wound yourself in memory of her, and perhaps she'll show mercy. Now, you know, the game is pretty clear which god is more likely to actually help, and that is Stone. So if you, like, had multiple gods to pick from, I would pick her. Make a sacrifice to Salt. Salt, the god of horizons and farewells. Who knows what he'll do? Whisper a secret into the dark and see. Now, I'll be honest, I would probably risk Storm before I risked Salt. Even though Storm is more likely to have a bad outcome, because I don't like giving up secrets. But, yeah. Fire a distress flare. This is very unlikely to work. If it works, you may regret what it brings. The Untersee is not exactly a swarm with friendly ships. I admit I've never done this because I don't carry flares. I've never had one on me, so I've never had this option. So I don't know if it might draw different boats based on where you are or anything like that. Never done it. I will say, if you run out of fuel and you are very, very, very close to London, a little tugboat will show up and offer to tow you the rest of the way back to London. You have to pay him a lot, but it's a guaranteed success. But you have to be super close to London for that to happen, and it doesn't require a flare. And of course, the final option, abandoned ship. Draw lots for lifeboat places, because apparently we're pulling a Titanic and we don't have enough freaking lifeboats. Cast yourself on the mercy of the waves. There is a tiny chance that you'll find your way back to London without either crew or ship, because if they're still alive, they're not going to follow you after this fiasco. Perhaps it'll be better if you don't. So I will say, I have had to hit this a few times. I have not once made it back to London. Not once. So it must actually be a pretty tiny chance. Or I've just been horrendously unlucky, but it even says it's a tiny chance, so yeah. And I think you end up, if you do get back to London, my guess is that you would be stuck in that little, you know, size of a dining room table, cheapest ship. Good luck at that point. But yeah, I wanted to show that off. We obviously don't have to hit it because we made it with, you know, essentially that like just hit that meter, just hit it so that you guys could see it, which actually worked out pretty well. But yeah, we are going to buy some fuel here in the Iron Republic. We're going to buy as much as we can hold. There we go. You're all good. Seek a tittering artificer's help to awaken the seal. I know people here, the Cannoneer confides, from the old days. Perhaps we shouldn't talk about the old days. Wait, we have a judgment's egg? Where the flipping hell did we get a judgment egg? What happened? And do we want to use it on this? I mean, it's theoretically a good weapon, but we also need it to help. When did that happen? I swear, up, down, and sideways, like nothing happened between Varchis and here other than one visit to the Mangrove College, and I think I would have noticed Judgment's egg. All we did was eat some fermented fruit. I am so confused. Okay, so really we just need Stone's attention. Alright. Well, do we want the weapon or do we want to cure her? We can get the weapon later. The weapon can happen whenever. And I honestly can't remember what the weapon is. I don't know if I've ever gotten it. But I will say if it turns out to be one of the weapons that requires torpedo components to fire, I'm going to end up not using it. I don't know if it is or not. But considering he really likes to blow things up, it kind of feels like the sort of weapon where it might require them. And in that case, we're going to just have a weapon that I either barely use or don't use versus curing her. And I'm still slightly worried that that might be on a timer, although nothing seems to be progressing, so I'm honestly not sure. But I think I'm going to... We'll get another one eventually. We got this one somehow. Have we just been sitting on one for a while and I misread it earlier? Like, we got this way, way earlier. We had one... who knows? We could get another Judgment's Egg in Irem somehow, some way. Okay, fine. What does this do? Awaken the seal. An awakening. The cannoneer and the artificer place the Judgment's Egg on the seal and apply their instruments. The light in the artificer's chamber grows dim. This, then, is what it sounds like when a soul screams. When they're done, the egg lies in shards, and the seal looks a little different. But there is a watchfulness about it. The artificer shakes the cannoneer's hand. "I've missed working with you," she says. "I've missed it so much." The cannoneer grins that grin. "Nearly done. We can mount it on the bridge if you like, but we'll need a housing if we want to use it further. It'll have to be heart metal. I knew a man long ago, but I hear he went to Station 3. Swam there, the story says. If you can get us the run of Station 3, I can get in to see him." "No, I don't know where Station 3 is. It's a secret." "Well, we know where it is, and we honestly already do have run of the place, so we might just be able to do that." And we have a Searing Enigma, so there's that too. He said we can mount it on the bridge, so is it already something we can... A sky-scarred hunk of meteoric iron the size of a wheelbarrow. Burning glyphs mark its flanks. A star spore lives in it. It's watching you. Are you sure you know what you're doing with this thing? No, but we're still gonna. Mirrors +3, irons +3, and yes, it goes to the bridge. So yeah, actually, I'm glad we didn't buy a light, because those also mount to the bridge. And I'd rather have this. Okay, cool. I figured it was just going to be a weapon because of how he works, and maybe it will be if we keep working with it. I don't know. I've never done this. I've never done his.